29 polling stations become 290 constituencies.
Yes.
292 if we include prisons and diaspora.
Lovely.
Now, these 290 Form 34Bs are what was being announced at Bomas.
Yes.
And we should note that all but 27 constituencies were announced to the public, which is a problem in itself for another day.
Yeah.
Next, the Form 34C takes all of the 290 Form 34Bs and turns them into one single document.
Yes.
Finally, Form 34D is the end of the process where the IEBC Commission declares the president-elect. Very simple process in theory. Now that we understand the different forms, what is the problem? The Supreme Court has told us that the polling station is the final source of election data.
Yes.
And that verification is simply a mathematical exercise.
Yes.
Whatever happened there is final. Nothing can be added or changed once the polling station agrees and files their Form 34A. The Supreme Court in the Hassan Joho case confirmed as much, stating, and I quote, "Once the returning officer makes a decision regarding the validity of a ballot or a vote, this decision becomes final and only challengeable in an election petition." This makes clear that the Commission has no power to verify or confirm the results declared by the constituency returning officer. Chebukati's job is to add. If there is a problem, the court is the next step.
Yes.
Why is it then that IEBC kept deleting and uploading different Form 34As? They would post one version of the results, delete and file a new version.
Yes.
This is an allegation under sworn affidavit by Arnold Ochieng.
Yes.
Why is it then that Raila lost 2,793 votes through manipulation of Forms 34A in Bomet and Kiambu counties? This is according to the People's Petition. Even independent analysis confirms that there was some sort of manipulation with the Form 34As along the way.
Yes.
Nation Africa, for example, undertook a sample analysis of 233 Form 34As from across the country.
Correct.
The results conclude that someone benefited from inflated votes and that these errors poke holes into the accuracy of the final figures and thus the president-elect announced by Chebukati.
Yes.
Even our own analysis at the Fort Hall School of Government looked at 6 counties and showed how, for example, in Muranga, the difference declared between Form 34B and Form 34C saw William Ruto gain 1,010 votes. Again in Nakuru, between the two forms, Ruto gained 990 votes. And these discrepancies speak to the heart of many petitions. If the court has told us that tallying, verifying, and collating the presidential results is simply a mathematical exercise, how and why are numbers changing? And if the court has told us that IEBC has no right to change results cast by the people of Kenya, what were they doing?
Yes.
Does this mean that IEBC was manipulating and cooking figures? Were they being faithful to the people? Fellow Kenyans, we were told to clap for Chebukati because he made this election transparent. And because of his transparency, every home, bar, or individual was a tallying station. We were free to count the vote ourselves and confirm what IEBC told us. But if IEBC did not treat the uploads on their own website as final, but instead changed them and altered them without telling us, can we say that we had a free and fair election? Were we being taken for a ride and kept busy with calculators while funny business was going on? Chebukati must tell us the truth.
He must indeed. And I want to follow on. Today I want to highlight the Arnold Oginga affidavit. And it's a document put forward to solidify the Raila petition. Arnold carries out a post-election result audit, if you will, in which he analyzes the Forms 34A, 34B, and 34C that were issued, and those that were uploaded into the IEBC portal. Here's what we should pay attention to. Firstly, he notes that there were discrepancies between the various forms. To illustrate this, he goes through a sample of counties, Arnold identifies that in Baringo and Nairobi counties, William Ruto benefited from the discrepancies in votes. In Tiaty constituency, for example, adding all the extra votes meant Ruto received an extra 353 votes. In Nairobi County, specifically Kabete, Ruto was allocated an additional 938 votes.
Wow.
Arnold also notes that Form 34C lists results that were not uploaded to the public portal. This should be investigated. He goes on to tell us that the IEBC was substituting, and I quote, Forms 34A and 34B with new or different forms, 34As containing different results from what they had initially posted, as 2J told us, and which were then used as a basis for the result declaration. Why did this happen? Arnold also disturbingly notes that IEBC continuously deleted and uploaded these forms to its public portal as late as 19th August 2022.
Whoa.
Please note, this was 4 days after Chebukati had announced his results.
Yes.
Wasn't tallying over by the time of the announcement?
Yeah.
One wonders why the forms were still being handled.
Yes.
Arnold goes on to highlight that the total voter turnout, as recorded in Forms 34A, 34B, and 34C, varies. And according to him, and I quote, the voter turnout and the result of the presidential election are not accurate, nor are they verifiable. This is because the total number of valid votes cast in this election cannot be verified. He states that the total number of valid votes garnered by each candidate, together with rejected votes, was 14,213,027, and that this is different from the total valid votes cast as recorded in Form 34C, which reads 14,326,751.
Yes.
You do the math.
Yes.
His most damning assertions are the discrepancies in voter turnout in Forms 34C and the Keemskit.
Oh, yes.
Hey.
Here he asserts that the number of people who voted through the Keemskits are more than the number indicated to have voted in the presidential election as per the declared Form 34C. The difference in the voter turnout as recorded in the Keemskit and Form 34C is 140,028. And that after that result declaration of 15th August, the IEBC yet again updated a different Form 34C on the public portal. Arnold ultimately concludes that the result of the presidential election, as declared by Chebukati, is not an exact and accurate figure. That can be verified by Forms 34A and 34B. Logically, if Form 34A had issues, it follows that Form 34B would also have issues.
Yes.
And therefore, Form 34C would also be inaccurate.
Yes.
I want to conclude with this. If at the heart of democracy is the notion that holders of institutions, such as the IEBC, are accountable to citizens, then these are the issues that should be clarified and made plain.
Lovely. Lovely.
This election is such a joke.
I tell you. Now, law number 13
Yes.
in the Murphy's Law of Combat reads, if your attack is going too well, you have walked into an ambush. Today we want to ask country, what if Chebukati walked right into an ambush on election day? In interrogating this hypothesis, we will ask a few questions.
Yeah.
One, why weren't Chebukati and the Venezuelans charged with electoral crimes when DCI found